We finally got Ironheart, people, and I mean, everyone has an opinion about it. Some not so nice. The vast majority of YouTube critics have absolutely bashed the show for being the embodiment of everything wrong with the MCU. But what I want to talk about is whether the show truly deserves all the hate, or whether it's actually one of Marvel's better stories, as some other critics have pointed out. So let's talk about it. So guys, it's no surprise by now that the MCU have been going through a rough patch lately, and that's including both movies and series. Their movie failures make more noise and headlines because they cost literally the budget of a country to make, but we need to talk about their series as well. In the past 4 years, we've gotten shows like Secret Invasion, which was frankly an abomination that should have just stayed in the lab, She-Hulk, which was just a nightmare of what the MCU would become if they continued making parody stories, and Agatha All Along, which was, well, a snooze fest. And to be honest, I do like myself a good MCU show. There are some good ones like Loki, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., WandaVision, What If, etc. But sometimes they just miss the mark. And when they do, they miss it badly, like a blind person shooting an arrow with the blindfold on. And why am I saying this? It's because I want to highlight that I was kind of skeptical and even hesitant to watch this show. I was scared of watching something that would leave a sour taste in my mouth. So for like a week when it came out, I didn't watch it, until I did. So what impression did the show leave on me? Let's talk about it. Starting with the characters. Now, there are a number of characters in this show, about the same number you would expect from an MCU production. Not that many people. But still, I couldn't connect with many of them, even the ones we were obviously supposed to build a connection with. And I'm gonna start with our protagonist, Riri Williams. Riri Williams is an MIT research student who's on scholarship, by the way, to build a supersuit exactly like Iron Man's. And why does she want to do this? Except for the obvious fact that the execs are desperate for an Iron Man replacement. In the show, she's trying to commercialize a safe version of the suit, which would tremendously advance travels, safety, and search and rescue teams, etc. She claims that she wants to be special and do something that would make her important in the world. And in her unwavering determination to revolutionize the world with Tony Stark's suit, she did questionable things that got her expelled from MIT, aka the government institution that was funding the whole research in the first place. Now, she doesn't take this very well and decides to go full on rogue scientist by stealing the suit and never looking back, cause she built it, after all. You see, this really establishes her character from the get-go. The first few minutes of the show really tells us the kind of person she is. She's someone who is very resolute and will do any and everything, apparently, to accomplish her goals. And sooner than later, she gets involved with a literal crime gang. And it's not just any type of gang. These people strategically target the wealthy and they steal not just money, but also assets like stocks, benefits, and even company equity. That's how ruthless they are, yet she sees nothing wrong with working with them. I'm sorry, but what are we doing here? She claims the only reason she's doing this is because she doesn't have enough funding of her own to properly pursue her goals. But that's funny because not more than an episode ago, she did have funding. She had a scholarship and grants worth probably hundreds of thousands of dollars, judging by the kind of technology in that suit and her other projects. But she destroyed it with her own arrogance. Whose fault is that? And now she's trying to play the I'm going to do whatever it takes to accomplish my goals despite the odds card, and I'm not just buying it. She seems like an extremely entitled, self-serving jerk is the only word I can think of. And this is not even the only reason why. I'm going to get into the other ones in a bit. Anyway, she teams up with literal criminals, and the only time she thinks this is wrong is when she realizes that they maybe might try to murder her if she does the slightest misstep. I mean, for someone so genius, she really does put the numb in numbskull. And her whole character doesn't sit right with me, because while I do agree that characters should be flawed and have nuance, I don't quite buy the idea that the main character of an MCU show, who is supposed to be a superhero, should just be an entitled, self-serving brat with no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Because she doesn't have any redeeming qualities as a hero. I don't think we can call her that, even. Because she did not save a single person in the show. If anything, she just endangered people, especially those closest to her. She is the definition of what a hero does not look like. She doesn't even have the heart of a hero, which is painfully ironic because the show is literally called Ironheart. And even at the very end, when she was faced with her tests, the defining decision that usually makes or breaks most of our beloved heroes, She failed the test. She just like blatantly failed the test, and once again chose her selfish desires above all else. It is insane. And I don't think I've been this surprised in a bad way with any MCU hero like Riri Williams in a long time. Well, except for maybe Captain Marvel, but she's a discussion for another day. Now let's talk about some of the other characters like Parker Robbins, only the most laughable supervillain since that guy in Madam Web. And that's saying a lot, cause that guy was pretty bad. Parker Robbins is an insufferable man-child who really didn't have any believable struggle or motive other than the fact that he's a brat, much like Riri, which now that I think about it, they are actually perfect for each other. And before I talk about his crew, I just want to preface that I'm not one to really care about what race the characters are or anything along those lines. You could have literally 100 queer people in your show that are all black people, and I still wouldn't care. If the story's good, it's good. It doesn't matter what the characters in the show identify as. With that said, I actually like Parker's crew. There was quite some characterization with each of them, even though we didn't get to really dive deep into each of their stories. They were convincing enough in their interactions with each other. And most importantly, they were fun to watch. Were they probably as interesting as the Guardians of the Galaxy? No, but they weren't meant to be, and they served their purpose for the show. Another side character I want to talk about is Zay, which is like Riri's very weird love interest who obviously has bad taste in women. I mean, you can do better, man. She's just not worth it. And then there's Natalie. And this is probably the second most annoying element of the show to me, after Riri herself. I am struggling to understand how Riri essentially gave a soul to a machine, and then claimed it's artificial intelligence. Highly advanced artificial intelligence is one thing. A full-on human consciousness is another. I don't even think this is what scientists have in mind when they talk about AGI. What is this? And yes, I'm very aware this is all fiction, it's sci-fi, but some things just have to make sense for the story to be coherent. I mean, imagine if Captain America's shield was a talking shield that had the personality of a teenage boy. Can you see how weird that would be? That is similar to what is happening here, because while it is artificial intelligence, it is way too human for the state of science in this show, and it just doesn't make sense. And I have to admit, Natalie does complement Riri's characterization and character development, but in my opinion, it would have just made sense if they just made Natalie a human being in the first place, instead of using this very roundabout method to characterize them both. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot about Joe, who is an even more pathetic antagonist in the story than Parker, and that's saying a lot. He's also a man-child who for whatever reason just allows everyone he meets to walk all over him. He's a pathetic character. I don't even know what his purpose was in the story. Anyway, to answer the original question, is this show any good? My take is that this show could have been far better than what it ended up being, because the story had a lot of potential. And it's a shame because I'm a fan of Ryan Coogler. I loved the Black Panther movies, I loved Sinners as well, and at first glance he seems like the perfect person to tell this kind of story, but boy did he miss the mark with this one. Riri is an insufferable, unlikable individual who's not even charismatic in any way. And to be honest, Iron Man wasn't always the ideal superhero initially. He was a jerk too. But at the very least, he was interesting and charismatic. Riri is neither of those things. And the other characters are the same or just plain annoying, like Natalie. I couldn't really connect with any of them, and that really took away from any tension or stakes I should have felt while watching. Even at the end, even at the final battle between Riri and Parker, I felt nothing because I just didn't care about either of them. And as you can imagine, that just obliterated any iota of tension I should have felt with that scene. To be fair, this show is a fun watch if you're just trying to pass time, but if you're expecting something that would strap you in or knock you off your seat, you're better off looking somewhere else. Anyway, that's my take on Ironheart. I really want to know your thoughts. What did you think of the show? Did you love it? Did you hate it with your guts? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, as it really helps the channel, you have no idea. And I'll see you in the next one.